Growing up on the twin island republic of Trinidad and Tobago meant that as a child, I was always surrounded by clean, clear, serene water. But sometimes serene water becomes turbulent. This is the best way that I can describe how my mental health became negatively impacted as a child by witnessing violence. Unfortunately, I did not have a mental health professional in my school. And from that day onward, I vowed to myself that I would one day be that mental health professional that I needed. Today, I am a psychotherapist working on a national level as the coordinator of child affairs in the office of the Prime Minister. But one day, information came to my desk that took me back to the pain of my childhood. A report on the state of mental health services in Trinidad and Tobago revealed that within the school system, over 15 to 20% of over 400,000 students had mental health problems and lacked support and access to mental health services that they need. This became a deep and serious mental health equity issue for me. Being a part of this Atlantic Fellowship program just concreted the fact that in assessing health equity and the gaps, we must look for key principles such as socioeconomic factors, geographical locations, gender concepts, human resource needs, etc., cultural beliefs, and other factors. All of these factors affect child mental health. And why is this important? Why? Because according to the World Health Organization, most mental health challenges begin in children at the age of 14, 50%. So I resolved in my heart that I would be the mental health warrior that I always needed. So I did the research and I brought together a team nationally from each sector related to child development, from the health sectors, from the education sectors, NGOs, the child protection sector. And we said we are going to create a mental health workbook that will solve these problems. And then we'd use guidance counselors to go into classrooms, teachers to go into classrooms and present this workbook to educate children on their mental health. But then came COVID-19 and schools were closed for the remainder of 2020. And herein began a deeper and even more serious health equity issue. A plot twist that we couldn't even write in a Hollywood story. And this highlighted the fact that children would then become the greatest victims of COVID-19. Ms. Henrietta Fore, Executive Director of UNICEF, said it best when she said that children are amongst the most severely affected by COVID-19. They have experienced school closures, interruptions in social services, and restrictive movement. The equity gap widened. But there was a charge. There was a power call made by a fellowship team that we need health equity warriors to fight harder than ever before. And this led to the development of my 3-point action plan. 1, a virtual and print workbook. We worked together to develop an online and printed material type of mental health and wellness workbook designed with a COVID-19 context, reimagined and redesigned. It listed contact numbers for support agencies where children are isolated, apps, tips, games, activities, and physical challenges to improve mental health and wellness. While doing this, something very unusual happened. So I decided to turn to the concept of the shared story of us. So I turned to my team members and I said, what brought you to this point? Why did you decide to enter into this child development realm? And the answers were amazing. The answers inspired me. As I sat with my team and I did the unusual by starting a meeting with a question about self and building team morale, I discovered that our stories were deeply rooted and we all began this journey because of our personal experiences. And this brought us together as a tighter team, as a tighter unit in the mini base camp to fight against mental health inequity. 2, the next strategy, data collection, and child participation. We needed research and data on how children are coping at this time. We really wanted to find out how could we get children involved in the design of this entire process. This brought me back to a major health equity concept and principle. In assessing equity, we must never approach it from a leadership perspective or from our own position as an expert. We must seek to gain an understanding from the target population in order to best serve them. And so we turned to U-Report, a UNICEF SMS or texting or social messaging tool and data collection system designed to improve citizen engagement, inform leaders, and foster positive change. The answer was there. So we trained 80 children nationwide from every demographic background, every single type of child, even children living with disabilities. And we empowered them to go out and recruit thousands of children to take part in this poll so that we could get responses and get ideas from children. And this poll featured tips that we could give in return, links that we could give in return, and resources that they could use in their own powerful way to share with their friends. And finally, we designed a website for sustainability. Due to the closure of schools, we needed an army base camp for this battle, this equity battle, and something surprising happened. As I searched to and fro looking for a web designer at an affordable price, someone that we can, rely on to create a child-friendly concept, something amazing happened. A member within my own team, whose skills came to the fore. And this is just the concept of participative management. As I looked within the team for resources and strength, the mind-boggling thing occurred. Within my team, there was a young lady that had expertise in web design. And so I didn't need to look any further. It was all there. And that was the power of participative management. When we look within our team, we find the solutions. And she became an inspiration to me because as we worked together to build this new website called the Child Zone with 12 plus resources, she even started to share more on her personal take and personal views on mental health. And this became powerful. And so today, she became a health equity warrior. The ocean is still turbulent. There are thousands of children who are still affected at this time. But what I do know is that the great lesson for me is that in calming the turbulent waters of health inequity, the more swimmers we recruit, the more winners we can uproot. We are